Hello everyone, Tom Cosm here. This video today is a bit of an overview of a short 20-minute presentation I did at the Ableton Live user group in Melbourne last Friday. Unfortunately, the video for the event didn't quite work out, so I'm going to kind of cover the topics that I covered there. They asked me to do a 20-minute presentation on outside the square things, something interesting, something weird I'm working on, which I really enjoy because it gives me the opportunity to show people what I kind of do as a hobby and picking away at something that doesn't really have a purpose or doesn't really work properly. Just an opportunity to kind of show something interesting. So the topic I kind of chose for this was on the lines of communicating outside of Ableton Live. Not hardware, not synthesizers, but communicating through the web, talking to servers, talking to other people. And it was inspired when I saw someone, they posted a screenshot of Facebook in a Max for Live patch, which I thought was fantastic. Probably a bit of a time waster and not very practical, but it was amazing that you could actually do that. So I kind of thought, well, how can I make this more interesting? I mean, producers procrastinate. We procrastinate a lot. Well, I do, and I think other people do. And I thought, wouldn't it be good if we could have something where you could focus that time spent procrastinating on doing something kind of helpful? And I thought, why not connect with other producers and procrastinate with them? So I came up with this Max for Live patch called Producer Chatline. So I'm just going to double click this here for you. It loads up the patch. It says chat with other Ableton Live users, choose a nickname. I'm going to choose Cosm Tom, and I'm going to hit connect. And what this does is it connects to a server, connects to an IRC server for anyone who's familiar with IRC, and it joins the Tom Cosm chat room. And see, instantly when we join, there's a robot called Ableton, and it says, gives you a welcome, hello Tom Cosm, welcome, and it spits a random fact at you. So we've got multiple tracks can be selected and frozen simultaneously. So once we're in here, we can say hi, like that, and we can chat. Anybody else, any other producer anywhere in the world who has this Max patch open, or just sitting on their master out or whatever, they can chat back to you. So you're instantly connected with any other person who has this currently happening. Now, there's not really many people in there at the moment. Every now and then someone comes in and goes, hey, whoa, look at this, wow, I can't believe you did this, and then they leave, which is kind of expected because it's a bit of a novelty, but I'm hoping to change that, and I've kind of stepped it up a little bit recently. I've added a few more little things to it to make it interesting. If I go into my chat client here on my computer and just chat back, you'll see that here's Tom Cosm who's just joined, and I can be like, hey bro, what's up? And if we go back to here, you'll notice Tom Cosm says, hey bro, what's up? So this is really cool. Now the other thing with that fact thing is I can get a fact at any time. I put exclamation point fact, hit return, and it spits a fact at me. Double click the title bar of a device to collapse it and free up more screen real estate. Cool. We can add facts. So I can go add fact, Tom Cosm talks really fast in his videos. And that fact has now been added. So anybody can add facts, tips, hints, little hacks in Ableton Live, and those facts will kind of continue to go on the channel every now and then. So that's one cool aspect of it. The other one I was toying with is trivia. So if I type exclamation trivia and then give it a number, let's say 10, the robot will start a trivia round. So it says blah 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 is the number of samples of audio carried per second measured in hertz or kilohertz. So the question will come up. Let me read this question properly. Okay, so it's sample rate. If you'll excuse me. So I type in sample rate. It goes winner, Cosm Tom, answer, blah blah blah. And there's a scoreboard, and you move up ranks and whatever, and all the questions are audio related. The question list is building and building and building, all kinds of things. How many semitones in a major third? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Winner, excellent. And I've promoted a few events, kind of quietly, and we've had about 20 or 30 people in this chat room for a round of trivia, it's taken about an hour, and it gets really crazy. Everyone's really fighting to type the fastest, and it's really actually quite fun, and the winner can get a prize and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a really I find it quite fun. So I'm just going to stop the trivia here. Stop trivia. So there's a trivia button there. So you can go and get this now, producer chatline. You can Google for Tom Cosm producer chatline. I'll put a link in the description, and you can install it. You need Ableton Live 9 Suite, which has Mix for Live, and you can just get involved and join. I'm usually in there, say hello, what's up. You can ask questions. You can just sit there and watch other people talk, or watch the robot just play with itself. Do whatever you like. And I look forward to kind of evolving this a bit more. It's still early stages, but I think the idea is really neat, so I'm going to keep working on it. Now, the second thing I want to talk to you about is taking data from the web or anywhere and converting it to something that Ableton Live can recognize and use to change parameters. And the example I'm using here is Bitcoin, because I got interested in Bitcoin a wee while ago. I managed to acquire some, and then the price went really high. It skyrocketed to the point where I went, wow, okay, I need to pay attention to this because this could potentially be quite a lot of money for me. And so I started looking at the markets and watching all the numbers and the charts, and I was finding myself looking at these things every 5 seconds while I was working, just to make sure things weren't going wrong or whatever. And I went, this isn't me. This isn't how I work. I want to write music. I want to make stuff. I don't want to be looking at a chart and getting all anxious and everything. So I thought there must be a better way. And I thought, how cool would it be if I could get these numbers into Ableton Live and actually have them make music? So you could just sit there at your computer and just have something quietly going on in the background. And if something happens that requires your attention, it kind of alerts you with a musical cue. So I did that, and it's still an experimental stage at the moment. This is it here. There's a lot to go. It's something that I've been picking away at for the last few months. There's a lot I don't understand about data processing and signal processing and stuff, but I've got it actually working for you. If you're not familiar with Max for Live, don't freak out at this. It's actually a lot simpler than it actually looks. A quick run through. It starts here. So when I tick this box, it starts a 10-second timer, which downloads the market prices from this URL, and then this area converts it to this number, which is the current price in US dollars per Bitcoin, and then that gets fed into this little kind of 8-step routing mechanism. And every 10 seconds, it routes it to the next step and records what the current price is. And that keeps happening over and over every 10 seconds until there's a difference. And when there's a difference, this calculates what the difference is between the last price and the current price, and it sends it over to one of these 16 slots here. So every time there's a difference, one of these slots will update with the change, and it will give it a timestamp of what time that change happened. Then once that's happened, the change gets fed over to here. So we can see the last change since I had this last open was negative $2.43. That gets filtered through all this crap here, and it goes to this slider. Now this slider can go up and it can go down, and the slider will slowly reset back to 0 when it gets changed. So if the difference is, say, 4 cents, it'll shoot up to 4 cents would be, and then it will slowly come back down to 0. And this is good because when there's a change, it'll change the music or change the sound a particular way, and then slowly gradually come back to a neutral point. So that's pretty much all that happens. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to ping this download here and get one value. Let's see if it works. So I click on this and it's updated. So the current price of Bitcoin is $587.37 US dollars. That's in this market, which is bitstamp.net. Now it stores it in this, outputs it like this. This is what it looks like. It's this kind of raw, I think it's a JSON thing. I'm not too familiar with what that is, but I know it gave me this number here, which is 587.37. So I've extracted that amount, and then that's pretty much what happens. Let's click it again and see if we get a different price. Hopefully we do. No, we don't this time. I'm just going to turn it on. So I've turned that on now, and that's just going to, every 10 seconds, try and get a new price. So we should get some music happening with this. So I'm going to go over to Ableton Live. If we scroll back to the start of this, these devices, you'll see I've got an instrument rack, 2 analogs, one plays a pad, one plays an arpeggiated synth line, and it's got a reverb. There's a multi-map, So that slider inside the Max for Live patch is assigned to the input of this multi-map. Then all these parameters here, these 8 parameters, are assigned to the macro knobs of the instrument rack containing the 2 synths, and they all do crazy things within the synths. Most noticeably, pitch stuff. So when the price goes down, the pitch goes down. When the price goes up, the pitch goes up. It also speeds the arpeggiator up. So enough talk. I've talked for ages. Let's play some sounds and let's listen to the current Bitcoin prices. So not much happening at the moment. This is kind of its idle position. Let's go back to my patch. So we're still at 587.37. Now I've got some artificial ones I can introduce here just so we can speed up the video, because sometimes the markets are quiet and not terribly much happens. So I'm just going to give it 586. I'm going to kind of fake this. So there we go. Hear how the pitch slowed down, the arpeggiator slowed down, the change was negative, oh, and we just went back up again. So the change was 1.37. Now let's give it something a bit more drastic. Let's go up to 590. So that's gone crazy. And you see the slider slowly coming down. Back to 580. I'll turn this metro off so it doesn't keep snapping back. Let's try 591, which is really... No, we won't do that. 588. Let's go down to 584. So when the price difference is... I've given it kind of plus or minus 5 is what it can usually change at. So this is slowly going back to 0. So it's very simple what I've got attached to at the moment. I mean, you can assign this to anything within Ableton Live that's assignable. I've only just really thrown something together, which is a pad and an arpeggiator. There's a lot more stuff we can add in here to make it more interesting. And the other cool thing is we don't just have to deal with Bitcoin. I mean, you can take... Big change there. We can just take any input, really. I mean, one thing I'm really excited about is medical diagnosis stuff. I mean, you could hook your heart rate up to this. You could hook your heart rate and your blood pressure and your blood oxygen levels and your breathing patterns. You could have 4 of these all at once, controlling different aspects of some self-generative kind of orchestra of synths or whatever you like, playing music. So it's really quite cool in that you can take anything into this. The one thing I'll mention here is I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing with the timestamp. So that's the time difference between the changes. What I want them to do is scale how drastic this changes and how slowly it comes back to 0. Because I mean, if the Bitcoin market is just kind of going up a few cents every kind of minute or so, you don't want it to be drastic. But if it starts going up quite drastically over, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, that's when you want it to start being really kind of, accented. So that's pretty much it. That's what I've been doing for fun, I guess, lately. And as I said, this isn't usually what I show off, but I thought it's about time to show you guys how I waste my time and what I do in the more experimental side of things. So yeah, go grab that producer chat line if you're interested. Go check it out. Come and chat with me, and I'll make sure my next tutorial video is something a bit less crazy. Cheers, Tom Cosm.
Again.